Hey, Tommy from the Run Testers with another running shoe versus. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at, once again, the Asics Gel-Kayano 30, and this time I'm going to be comparing it to the Puma Foreverrun Nitro. Now, I was sent the Asics Gel-Kayano 30 from the guys over at Sport Shoes. I'm not paid to do this review, so I can say whatever I want, but big thanks to the guys for sending this over so that I could do these reviews. If you want to find out more about the Gel-Kayano 30, go into the comments and click on the link. Right, let's dive in and do the versus. The Asics Gel-Kayano 30 costs £180 or $160, weighs in at 300 grams or 10.6 ounces for men in a size 8, and the drop is 10mm. The Puma Foreverrun Nitro costs £140 or $150, weighs in at 270 grams or 9.5 ounces for men in a size 8, and the drop is 10mm. The Asics Gel-Kayano line has long been synonymous with all-out stability. For those runners looking for a high level of support, it's an option that sits at the top of the list, but has offered little versatility for runners who want a balance of stability, comfort, and enjoyment. The Asics Gel-Kayano 30 sees one of the biggest revamps the shoe has seen for a long time, featuring an increased level of cushioning, a new FF Blast Plus Eco Foam, and a 4D guidance system that aims to provide a more natural level of stability. The shoe also includes pure gel technology below the heel to add comfort and minimise impact, a stretchy engineered mesh upper for a better fit and breathability, and a generous layer of outsole rubber that includes sections of AHA Plus on the heel. The Puma Foreverrun Nitro is a stability running shoe that veers more towards the subtle side of support. The Nitro midsole foam features two foam densities, a softer middle section and a firmer outer, aiming to be both responsive and cushioned. There's an asymmetrical heel counter to hold the foot in place, and a wider medial rubber segment to improve stability. Other design features include power tape on the upper to improve support, a run guide rail to keep the foot centrally aligned, and an impressive Puma Grip outsole for traction across different terrains and conditions. Okay, so the fit for me in these two shoes, I'm a size 8 in the UK. These are both size 8 shoes in the UK. The Asics Gel-Kayano 30, I would say, is a very comfortable fitted shoe. There's a lot of padding around it. It's a shoe that's really designed for comfort. There's a nice level of stepping comfort in it, but it's also quite roomy in the toe box as well. I would say that the upper is very nice and relaxed, but you do have a lot of that cushioning around the ankle collar, so it really holds the foot in place quite nicely. It's a very comfortable shoe. I would stay to my size in this shoe. The Puma Foreverrun Nitro, I would stay to my size in this shoe, but what I would say about it is that the upper is a little bit leaner than what you get on the Gel-Kayano 30, and as a result I do find it harder to get a good fit on it. There's less padding on this shoe, it's a little bit lighter when it comes to padding. There's still plenty there, but the upper section is just a little bit thinner, and what I've found in testing in this shoe is that sometimes when I tie the laces up and go for a run, the laces become undone, and I think that's because the upper doesn't really stay in the same place all the time. If you're running, it will push out a bit on the midfoot of the shoe and sort of loosens the laces a bit. So I find that I have to double knot the Foreverrun Nitros to get a good fit. But even then, I would say that it's not as good lockdown. I do feel like the shoe is quite hard to get a really comfortable fit on. If I tie it too hard, it's not very comfortable, and if I loosen it a bit, it doesn't feel very secure. So take that into consideration. That does play a little bit into the actual running experience of the shoe. So these are two stability shoes that sort of fit into the new world of stability shoes, where we're seeing a lot of shoes come out now which have stability elements which are actually, they don't feel like conventional stability shoes. I'm not a stability runner, but I am told that I should have a level of stability in my shoes. And a lot of these shoes that are coming out now really have varying levels of stability. So some shoes like the Saucony Tempus is a shoe that is really designed to be quite versatile when you're running it. It's a little bit firmer, it's nice and responsive. For me, I can run in that shoe comfortably and I don't think about it as a stability shoe. These two shoes sit two sides of the scale, I think. The Asics Gel-Kayano 30, I've never been a fan of the Kayano line. They've never really worked for me. They've been very much historically designed for people who really need a lot of stability. Those previous versions of the shoe, you knew they were stability shoes. You knew your foot was firmly in place. You could feel the stability elements in them. But if you're somebody that didn't need loads of stability, that it was a bit overpowering, and they can feel a little bit clumpy and quite heavy. So I've never really enjoyed testing the Gel-Kayano range out before. The new version, the 30, is a really big update on the previous versions. It has a lot of updates across this. The midsole is a lot more forgiving. It's a little bit bouncier, not massively, but it's definitely a shoe that is veering more towards that sort of comfortable daily shoe, sort of max cushion shoe world, as opposed to being a full-on stability shoe. Still has the stability elements in it. It's a very good stability shoe. It's definitely holding your foot in place, and when you're out running in it, you can sort of tell it's doing that, but not in such an obvious way as the previous versions did. So what I'd say about the Gel-Kayano 30 is that for me, it's veering more towards the world of something like the Nimbus 25, which is a fantastic cushion shoe. There's a lot of midsole foam in there. It's a nice balance. It's not the softest shoe in the world, but also it's not particularly firm. So it's a really good shoe for people that are looking for just a great, comfortable cushion cruiser. And the Gel-Kayano 30 is pretty similar to that. I've been running in this quite a bit. I've probably done about 80k in this shoe now. And unlike the previous versions of the Gel-Kayano, I actually really enjoy running in this one. It doesn't feel like a stability shoe on your foot in the same way that previous versions have. You still notice a stability shoe, but those stability elements just feel a little bit less rigid than before, where you need it. So it allows you to run comfortably. Doesn't feel like it's forcing your foot to do something that you don't really want to do. And as a result, I think it's a much more accessible shoe for people that maybe want a stability shoe but don't need a full-on all the way traditional stability shoe, and as for that reason, I think it's definitely the best update to the range I've ever seen, and it just delivers really well. So I think big kudos to the updates that have been made to the Kayano. I think it's really advanced to the point where it's not just for full-on stability people now. Now the Puma Foreverrun Nitro, this sits at the other end of the scale. So there are shoes coming out at the moment which are stability shoes, but they really have a differing level of stability in them. I'd say the Gel-Kayano really sits at that far end where you want full stability, and that shoe's going to give it to you. The Puma Foreverrun Nitro, it doesn't feel like a stability shoe really, and it does have stability elements in it, but if you were to put the shoe on and go for a run in it, you probably wouldn't notice them straight away. You really have to do a lot of running it to really notice that there are stability elements, and they are quite subtle. You can feel them if you're looking for them, but it is quite a flexible shoe that really is quite similar to a daily shoe that you would find from something like the Puma Velocity Nitro and Puma Velocity Nitro 2. It is a much more versatile shoe. It's a shoe that you could pick up and maybe have as your daily trainer if you wanted a little bit of stability in your shoe. What I would say about the Puma Foreverrun Nitro is that for me it isn't it doesn't give enough stability to really offer a stability element to it. So if you do need stability, you're probably not going to get, or you need a lot of stability, you're probably not going to get it from this shoe. It's a very comfortable ride. It is a versatile ride. It definitely sits into that realm of something like the Saucony Tempest for me, where you can go out and do daily training miles, you can do longer, slower runs. The midsole is relatively soft, but also quite responsive as well, and you can pick up the pace in a bit in it as well. It's not the fastest shoe in the world, but if you're going out and do daily training miles and you want to up the pace a bit, or if you're a runner that just wants one shoe with a little bit of stability in, and you're doing all sorts of runs, park run, you might be doing a half marathon, it's still a good shoe for that. It's not going to be the fastest shoe, it's not going to compete with something like a carbon plate race shoe, but it has got a bit of versatility to it, and I think it's a good shoe for that as well, definitely if you're looking for a little bit of stability. The only thing I would say about it is that the fit for me does make it a little bit harder to run fast in. What I found about this upper is that it's quite hard to get a nice lockdown fit on it. It does feel quite loose. You really have to tie it down quite a bit. I always double knot this shoe when I go and run in it. But when I'm running fast, if I'm running around corners and things, it does feel a little bit loose on my foot, and I'm not a big fan of it when I'm trying to pick up the pace, because I don't feel very comfortable in it, and it does feel like it's loosening a bit when I'm out on the run. But other than that, it's a solid, comfortable daily stability option that really is for those people that maybe want a little bit of stability. You might be a stability runner who normally uses something like the Asics Gel-Kayano 30, and you want something a bit more versatile to do faster runs in, and you don't mind losing a little bit of the stability for those runs. It also has an excellent outsole. It's Puma grip outsole, which is one of the best you're ever going to find on a shoe these days. Fantastic grip on it, not any issue at all on it. Feels really good. On all the surfaces that I've ran on, and I've ran on the road in the wet and things like that in the Foreverrun Nitro. So it's a very good, solid shoe. But if you're looking at these two shoes as stability options, it really comes down to the level of stability you want, because the Gel-Kayano 30 is by far superior when it comes to stability. But you know, this is a bit faster. The outsole on the Asics Gel-Kayano 30 as well is very good. I wouldn't say it's as good as the Puma shoe, but it is absolutely fine. I've not had any issues with it at all. There's a bit of exposed midsole on it, but this midsole foam is a little bit more durable, a little bit tougher than what you get on some exposed midsoles. So I've not had any issues at all with the outsole on the Asics Gel-Kayano 30. So the verdict for me on these two shoes is it really comes down to what you want out of a stability shoe. I think they are both very, very good shoes. If you're a runner that is looking for stability shoe, it really comes down to how much stability you want in that shoe and what you're going to use it for. If you want an all-out stability shoe for your comfortable runs, your easy runs, your long runs, or you're a runner that is maybe doing a marathon and you want a stability shoe to get you over the finish line and you're not going for like a sub 3 or something like that, it's a good option. It's definitely a much better option than it was previously. I'd be happy to run a comfortable marathon in this shoe, and I think it would be very nice, but I definitely can pick up the pace in it. It sits very firmly in that sort of long run, slow run, easy run, recovery run section, and for me that's about 5 minute 20 kilometers pace. For the Asics Gel-Kayano, I'd say it sits around there. If you're looking for something to do like 4 minute kilometers in, you're going to struggle with this, because it's still a bit of a beast, but it's very nice at cruising and comfort. The Puma Foreverrun Nitro, I would say that for me, if I was looking at the pace that I'd use this shoe, I think it's perfectly competent at slow paces. So 5 minute 20 kilometer pace for me in this shoe would be absolutely fine. Could definitely do a nice long run in this shoe. There's plenty of cushioning in it. It's very comfortable. But I could probably go up to, my pace would be about, I could probably do 4 minute kilometers in this shoe and feel pretty good about it. It's not the most responsive shoe in the world. It's not the bounciest shoe in the world, but it does feel nippy. It feels lean. It feels like you can pick up the pace quite nicely in it. But you lose a little bit on, you don't have as many stability elements in it. You don't have as much padding. It's that upper issue as well. So there are trade-offs with it. So I think it really comes down to what sort of stability shoe you want, which would make the decision very easy. Alternatives for these, I've done another video on the versus between the Gel-Kayano 30 and the Saucony Tempest. I think the Saucony Tempest is a far superior shoe to the Puma Foreverrun Nitro. It just has a better lockdown. It feels a lot quicker for me. It's a little bit firmer than the Foreverrun Nitro for me, which I wouldn't always like, but I think it just works in the Tempest. I'd used the Tempest a lot for faster sessions when I was training for my last marathon, and it did an absolutely great job. Wouldn't be as likely to choose the Foreverrun Nitro. It's fine. It's the fit for me, and it just doesn't have the pickup and the speed for me that the Saucony Tempest does. Yeah, ultimately, it always comes down to the level of stability you want, and there's a pretty big difference between these two shoes. That's it from me on the Asics Gel-Kayano 30 and the Puma Foreverrun Nitro. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and don't forget to like, subscribe, click the little bell. It's really important that you subscribe, because I'm desperate to build those numbers up. So if you're watching this now, give me a subscribe. Cheers. Also, a big thanks to Sports Shoes for sending over the Asics Gel-Kayano 30 to test, and head down in the comments to click on the link to find out more about the shoe. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.